when somebody was going to get a governor abducted exactly 10 years ago. For yesterday marked the 10-year anniversary of Dr. Chris Ngige's abduction while he was governor of Anambra State. The same way the president was out of the country. It's a common practice. Please do it while I'm away. The president was out of the country. But for the intervention of the vice president on that occasion, who stood his ground, that is Abubakar Atiku, Ngige will have been adopted and perhaps killed by those official thugs. A couple of years later, when the president wanted to impose the third-term agenda on Nigeria, the day the National Assembly was to take a vote, he was in France. He was also not in the country. This time around, those who set the engine of illegality in motion in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, are out of the country. But just yesterday, our president addressed a meeting of African ambassadors in Beijing, China. And the totality of his statement, the gravamen of his address, was that African countries should strengthen institutions of democracy. Of course, you can see what is going on in Port Harcourt. We have 5 legislators accompanied, and this is very important, sir, accompanied by an army of thugs and policemen invaded the chambers of the House of Assembly of Rivers State. And the 5 of them, with the support of the police at the highest level, announced the removal of the principal officers of the House. Under Section 92, subsection 2 of the Constitution, an elected Speaker of a House of Assembly cannot be removed without a resolution supported by 2/3 majority of the entire members. In the case of Port Harcourt, in the case of Rivers State, you needed 22 members of the House, because they have 32 members. But 22 of them are required by law, by the Constitution, to remove the Speaker. But the ruling party has already commended or congratulated the legally imposed Speaker, just to emphasize the culture of impunity in our country, the level of absurdity that is going on. Again, on vicarious liability of the presidency, because somebody addressed the press yesterday and said, oh, as usual, the president has no hand in it. This one. Just we were told, when you were going to have the election of the governors, the president was in Ethiopia. You can just imagine the president must be out of the country when the constitution of our country is going to be breached at the highest level. What happened? We're also told the president has no hand in the governor's election. Why are you dragging the president to this? But shortly thereafter, the president received an audience in the villa, the man who scored 16 votes, and granted the claim of the man who scored 19 votes. So don't be surprised if the illegally imposed Speaker, purportedly elected by 5 legislators, is welcome in the villa, while, of course, the man recognized by the entire House, including the 5, will again be treated with contempt by the presidency. But what is important for me is to let you know that we have gone through this dangerous route before. And that is why, and I think that is the challenge before us, and I think that is the message the Prof is passing across. We must tell these guys that we are not a conquered people. In the case of Oyo State, In 2006, a thug gathered a few legislators and got them to sit in a hotel, not in the House of Assembly, where they purportedly impeached the governor of the state. The Supreme Court made it clear on that occasion. Any business of a House of Assembly conducted outside the chambers is illegal. And furthermore, that you cannot fractionalize, you cannot have a minority of legislators impeaching the governor of a state, because the governor has been elected by the entire state. So if you are going to remove him, you need not less than the votes of 2/3 majority of the legislators. That was the judgment of the Supreme Court. The emperor then disregarded the judgment of the Supreme Court until the Nigerian people insisted that Doja had to be restored. In the case of Plateau State, at the time the governor was impeached, only 8 legislators were in office. All the other 16 have lost their seats because they had decamped and INEC had declared their seats vacant. But the Supreme Court still roared and made the point abundantly clear. 8 of you cannot, under any circumstance, constitute 2/3 majority of the membership of the House, a House of 24 members. 8 of you, in peacetime and in wartime, cannot constitute the 2/3 majority of the members. The case of Rivers State is more absurd, more odious. We have 5 people out of a House of 32 members, aided by the state, invaded the House of Assembly Vietnamese, unleashed violence on the other members, chased them out of the premises of the House, and sat to carry out infamy endorsed by the presidency. So when somebody tells you the president is not involved, the silence of the presidency, wherever it may be, is a confirmation of the official endorsement of the crisis that is going on in Port Harcourt. The current Inspector General of Police launched a code for police officers in Abuja in February this year. I was invited by the IG. And in that code, the IG made it clear that no police officer in Nigeria under his tenure will get involved in partisan politics, and that any policeman, any police officer who does that will be sanctioned. We are calling MD Abubakar IGP to begin the implementation of the Code of Conduct for Police Officers by removing Mr. Joseph Umbu, because apart from violating the Code of Conduct, he has also treated the courts of law in Nigeria with contempt. I handled the case of AMPP and IGP, where the Court of Appeal made it clear that in Nigeria, it is no longer the requirement of the law that anybody should ask for police permit to demonstrate. Mr. Mbu has said the governor of the state and his people cannot engage in any protest without his own authorization. That is subversive of the rule of law. For that reason, Mr. Mbu should be removed. The National Assembly is saying he should be deployed. To where? It should be removed and sanctioned by the Police Service Commission. Legally, there is no confusion, and you guys in the media must help our country to disregard the illegality that was carried out 2 days ago in Rivers State by not regarding the so-called speaker as the Speaker of the House. there is a function, there is a speaker known to law. The other one is unknown to law. It's only known to the presidency. That's all.